All right, we're off and started tonight. I think today is fourth January. Getting started with the year, and we'll go ahead and pray real quick, and just take a moment and go over lesson 1 to now. Jesus, come to you right now, and I thank you for setting this in motion. Thank you for never forgetting about me, letting me go. And I pray that anybody that would hear this, and the ones that are here, Lord, that we would just get something out of it. Each day, each week, we want to grow and get closer to you. Life doesn't quit being life. It's going to be difficult when we leave here. It'll be the same life, but we want to have tools to be able to become closer to you and have some joy here on earth. In Jesus' name, amen. As Dana was reading the 8 principles, you'll see they kind of go along with the 12 steps. You know, like that principle 8, I yield myself to God to be used to bring this good news to both by my example and my words. And of course, step 12, you know, as a spiritual awakening, I will take this message to others. They go along and mirror one another as you see them going along. But we're going to start tonight with denial. Principle 1, Dana read principles, and then step 1 that goes along with it. Principle 1, I realize I'm not God. I admit that I am powerless to control my tendency to do the wrong thing, that my life is unmanageable. Happy are those who know they are spiritually poor, Matthew 5:3. Step 1, we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and compulsive behaviors, that our lives have become unmanageable. For I know that good itself does not dwell in me, that is, in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. Romans 7:18. And we'll start here tonight with what is denial. Now, I mean, if you've been around recovery any time amount in your life, you're automatically going to start thinking of drinking and drugs as the major, like, I don't drink as much as so-and-so, and I don't do them kind of drugs, that they do more. We've all heard that kind of denial, and that is part of denial. But we're going to look a little deeper in denial into things other than drinking and alcohol for just a minute, because that's where it starts. Now, the actual word denial has been defined as a false system of beliefs that are not based on reality, and self-protecting behavior that keeps us from honestly facing the truth. Some of the things that we do say, as we go down, it says, can we just stop talking about it? Talking makes it only worse. You know, this doesn't just have to be drinking or alcohol. It could be them too, but it could be whatever trauma that you went through as an earlier person. You know, your denial is that I don't want to address it. It's painful. I don't want to address it. Something else you might say, if we don't talk about it, go away. I've never said that. I guess some would. Let's pretend that it didn't really happen. Some people wouldn't speak that out, but that's what they do. You know what I mean? It's like, we just don't talk about it. Denial, as you read in here, denial is that pink elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. You know, and I've heard it said in recovery, where it's sick is our deepest secrets. And that's what we want. We want to try to be able to release some of that where you can walk in freedom. You know, and I'll talk about that a little more. But he really doesn't drink that much. Or I really don't drink that much. That now we're kind of down back to some drinking stuff. I don't drink as much as Joe over there. That's all. That is denial. Because what are we doing? I'm creating my own reality with my own story. You go on, it really doesn't hurt that much when he does that. I'm fine. That's something that someone's in abuse is getting. It may not hurt that when she's doing that to me, which it could be emotional abuse. You know what I mean? I could be... at least he doesn't do this. At least she doesn't do that. You know, it's justifying behaviors and creating your own narrative. It's still denial. So-and-so drinks more than I do. So-and-so has been married 3 times. I've only been married twice. You know, I eat because you make me mad. That's sort of shifting blame. It's still in the realm of denial, though. I do this because you did that. Well, that means that you are completely influenced by everyone else in the world. If they do this, I'm going to do this. It's almost like being trapped. What you're trapped in is denial. They don't have the power over you to do that. The truth is, we did it because we thought that was the best route for us to take at that time to deal with whatever that it was. Another where you really see this play out a lot is politics. Now, I'm not going to talk about politics, but I'm going to talk about how that politics uses shifting blame to the other side. What they'll say, well, the Republicans will say, well, the Democrats did this, but the Democrats won't say, no, I didn't do that. They'll say, yeah, but they did this. Well, that don't change that they did whatever that it is. It's just that you brought up something you think's worse, and then there's this perpetual blaming that goes on, and nothing ever gets fixed. They're just, you did this. Oh, well, do you hear what they did this? Well, it isn't just in politics. We do that on day-to-day lives out here. So, where we use this one at the politics is when we're painted into a corner and they got us. We really don't even have no way to, it's like they pegged us, and you're like, well, I might get drunk all the time, but he uses drugs. All that is a statement that will keep you where you're at. And it's also a defense mechanism. I want to shine light on what you're doing to get the light off of me. That's denial at its core. I did it. I was talking with Mom, or I did it with my daughter. I used to say, well, there was 26 weekends in a year. I was supposed to get her half of them, and I only missed a couple. I'm creating my own narrative to say I was a good dad. I was there. But the truth is, I would tell lies up to including I thought I had cancer. So I wouldn't have to go get my daughter so I could go get drunk this weekend. I mean, that's the truth. Now, we want to paint a better picture for ourselves because we just can't bear what really happened in the truth. A scripture here, let's see, 2 Peter 2:19 tells us, they promise them freedom while they themselves are slaves of destructive habits. For we are slaves of anything that has conquered us. I use this as an example. Like I was in a really embarrassing, ungodly marriage, and I don't talk about it specifically here on the like on the audio or out here for you, because I don't want to embarrass my family or some of the other people that's involved in it. But if you talk to me off to the side, I'll tell you down to the details of the things that happened with me in that sin and what that I went through with that. And do you know why I can talk about it so openly? Is because it does not have any reign over me whatsoever. I have addressed it. I have been forgiven for it. And whenever that we're still holding on to some shame, we'll act like it's not there or it hasn't happened. And then what happens is people can sense that. You even get around that subject, whatever it may be for you, the pink elephant in the room. You get around that subject and you start moving away from it. Like some of these, can we stop talking about it? Talking makes it only worse. We start moving away from it. If we don't talk about it, it'll go away. If that don't help, somebody actually brings it up, then we start going, well, I did this, but they did that. And whenever you're operating in these things, which is denial, you're not able to have complete freedom from it. That's what I want for us. It's actually, all of this is helping us to become the person that I can look in that mirror and be okay with it. The rest of town and everybody don't have to be okay with it. In fact, they're not going to be. But if between me and God and myself, it's okay, and I've done everything that I know how through these steps, will show you along the way how to address it down to the T. Then you've done all, you've cleaned, as they say in recovery, you've cleaned your side of the street, and that's all you can clean. That's a whole nother step whenever I start trying to do a step for them. I start trying to clean their side of the street. If you want to feel like getting drunk or drinking or doing something, start trying to make somebody else think the way you think. You're going to, and I've done that. And if you do it, it's going to be futile, because I can't change. I think I can. I think I can debate it out of you or whatever. You can't. You just got to let it go, do the next right thing, and let God have it. Now, all these things are easy to say, but to operate in them, they're not. So I'm just trying to, we got time. We're going to start going through these steps, and it's going to be hard for you to even, like we know the steps need to be usually 4 or 5 people. You're going to get to where, I can remember going through the steps myself, and I would only share to this point because I didn't trust the people that was in that room. I didn't trust, if I share this with them, I don't want everybody to find that out. And that's fear. It's fear, and that fear is keeping you in denial, which is keeping you sick. These people, their ideas about us in the community, our family, and all around us, this is the script. They promise them freedom while they themselves are slaves of destructible habits. For we are slaves of anything that has conquered us. To that thing that you're ashamed of, the devil is bringing fear and shame on you, which is making you operate in denial. You're a slave to that. You're not operating freely in this life because that you're a slave to whatever that it is. This is hard work. This ain't something that you're just going to be able to go out and start trusting some of these people. But this book says it, and I believe it. It says Celebrate Recovery is a place of where you can trust and let some things out. When I know that the group that I'm looking at here is operating in that. So I'm just wanting you to be able to get freedom from some of them things. And the end result is, we don't want to drink and drug and go back to being that kind of person that we was. But it's going to start with addressing some habits and things that we have outside of drinking. Some character defects, which we'll get into that later. But we got, it says, Jesus tells us, know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Step out of your denial so you can step into Jesus' unconditional love and begin your healing journey. This is one of them steps that you can go along with. You can't really beat it to death talking about it knowledge. It's basically, are you going to do it or not? I could stand up here for another 15, 20 minutes talking about denial and the steps and what it means if you do this and if you step in it. What it comes out is, am I going to start operating my life in truth and freedom? And it's going to be tough. But it's absolutely, and when we do, and you have to come to this point too. We mentioned unmanageable, and all of that seems to point towards drugs and alcohol. I told you before, I spoke about this, I'm going to drink beer, not alcohol, not whiskey. I'm going to just take gabapentin. I'm not going to take Lortabs. I'm not going to shoot heroin. I'm just going to take Lortabs. All of that is I'm still trying to manage this sin and addiction. And it's not manageable. If it was, I wouldn't be standing up here right now. I would have found out how to manage it out there. But this doesn't just apply to the drugs and alcohol. It applies to, with like overeating. I'm only going to eat one meal a day. I'm not going to eat these two. It's like, instead of doing things the right way, we've got an idea that it'll work out. You go more into just like depression, and depression, a big one will be just acting like it's not there. I'm okay. See how simple how are you doing? I'm okay. Now I know the regular person out there in the world, when they ask you, how are you doing? They want you to say I'm fine, because they really don't even want to know anyway. But when you're around somebody who truly cares about you, and they say, how are you doing? How many times do we go, I'm fine, but we're not. It's all over us. We're not. Find somebody who cares and get that off of you. And if you won't, you'll just stay in this denial, fear, denial, over and over the stories. I said some of them things so you can start noticing it when you're doing it. A lot of it being aware that you're doing it. Like, we think a lot of us, especially the ones with drugs and alcohol, who's been so far, we're like, I know I've got a trouble with alcohol and drugs, but I've known that for a long time. Really, you know you got a problem, but you may not know how bad that it is. I mean, it could be overeating or depression or lying or we're lazy. These are all character defects. It's a plethora of things. But we don't realize how bad that we are in that thing until it's so terribly obvious to everyone else. We'll go, yeah, I know I got a problem, right? But you don't know well enough that you're willing to go all out and do this to stop it. And so just start paying attention to how you're talking about things. And some of these things will start popping up and you'll go, man, that's a denial, fear type statement. I said that because I don't want them to find out. And I realize you got to watch out there in the world sometimes with what you say in front of people and stuff. But the only reason I worry about it anymore is that it may harm like my daughter or some of the people that's involved in the story. That's the only thing I take into account. Because other than that, I don't care. Me and Jesus are fine. They knows exactly what I did, and we've done discussed it. And you can't believe the freedom in that. So that's pretty much on denial, and the books that I've handed out there with you, it'll go along with that. And it's some simple questions. And how this is designed as we go along in these steps, and I'll even some people that may hear this later, that's what these steps will do is through biblical principles, they're going to make you address some of these issues that you've never even thought about. And as you gain a little confidence in the group that you're with, in groups of four or five, you will answer these questions and you'll answer them very sincerely. Like as I see some of y'all looking to questions, they're very simple questions, but not if you answer them sincerely. They're very hard questions to answer if you answer them sincerely. And if you'll answer them sincerely and start looking into denial seriously, your life can change. It's really not rocket science. It's paint by numbers. But it's just doing the work and going through it. So that's pretty much it on denial. I could go into a lot deeper on it. I think I turned this thing off already. I'll let you. Now the good news with a small group like this, we can